look at the Mavericks team for a second. Gafford is still young. Lively is still young. PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Max Christie. Those are still very good players that you would love to have on your team. The only thing is they're missing is like a star
Yeah.
to have. So they still have a pretty solid core of guys that they'd be able to put something together. So I still am in favor of that future a lot more than Phoenix.
GMLB family, welcome back to another episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball. As always, my name is Mike Miles, and I am with my co-host Victor, Daniel, and Kevin. Fellas, how we doing today? How we doing today?
Pretty lackluster.
I'm the opposite, man. It's a beautiful day here in South Memphis. It's really nothing to complain about.
Doing well, fresh off the load management. Coming back for another episode of GMLB, ready to get at it.
Yeah. To all the fans, our consistent listeners who we continue to let down at times, we took a load management week, and just like the NBA, sometimes you want to tune into a game and your favorite players just aren't playing. So that's just what we're gonna call it. GMLB family, apologies for missing last week. Um, we all had stuff happening outside of the podcast realm, so we will be back. We'll be consistent. Please give us some grace on that. But today we do have a set of topics. So we're going to start off today with who has the worst future as of right now, and the death of an upcoming rivalry that lasted about one playoff series, and that's the Dallas Mavericks or the Phoenix Suns. A couple years ago, these guys were battling in the playoffs. We had the classic Chris Paul hits a three to cut the lead to 42 meme come out from this series. Luka smiling at Booker. There was a lot going on with this series. So we're going to kind of discuss today, just 2, 3 seasons later, how grim the futures of both these franchises are. After that, we're going to talk about kind of the outlook of Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons' potential to win a playoff series and kind of how that's going to look, what it's going to take. And after that, as most of you have seen, there's been a viral discussion on the top 5 third options in the NBA. We're going to take a little peek at that and discuss Big Kev's top 5 third options. so, so Kevin, of course, will be hosting that segment. But as always, GMLB family, if you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's just jump into it. Let's jump into it, fellas. So I guess I'll kick it off with Vic today. Vic, who do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the future of the current Dallas Mavericks or the future of the current Phoenix Suns?
Oh man, both futures are kind of we don't know what's going to happen. I'd say, but let's talk about the Suns first. I feel like there's a lot more to unpack with the Suns right now.
Kick us off, man. Where you want to start?
So you brought up the topic saying who has a more darker future, the Phoenix Suns or the Mavericks, and I believe that the Suns could have a brighter future in the long term. And that's because they have, I feel like, more valuable assets that they could get rid of and get picks out of and get other role players in return for KD or Devin Booker if they decide to get rid of both of those players. I feel like they can get a lot back for them. And there's even been some proposed trades that we went over previously. Another one that I saw, I mean, we can get into that later, but yeah, I mean, I want to do a quote on the Suns season this year from Devin Booker, and he said, "Talent only gets you so far. I've been on teams with less talent that found ways to get more wins. It's just the little things."
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. I did see he saw that. That's kind of crazy to say too, considering it's almost like he's calling out his teammates. But
It's been a disaster though, like the whole season.
yeah,
And I mean, we've seen it with KD, we've seen it with Book. They've both been frustrated. and something's got to change.
I think one thing to know here off the bat, the Suns and the Mavericks actually have the exact same record right now. Difference is the Mavericks are absolutely plagued by injuries. They're better than the record and what they are right now. It's just I feel like they're more so looking at next season. AD came back last night for whatever reason. I don't really understand why he came back. I don't understand what trying to push they're trying to get into the play-in or whatever. But as far as Dallas, like they know with a fully healthy team, they can definitely compete and make the playoffs. This Suns team, if KD or Booker were to get traded, they're like very, very much screwed. Don't believe they have a whole lot of draft picks coming in. They don't really have depth and they don't really have that many great young guys. I think their future looks pretty terrible. Like in a few years, we could see them have another season like the Eric Bledsoe Suns. And that team sucked.
You could say that again. That was horrible. Daniel, what you got on Phoenix?
On Phoenix, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Kevin on this one. I'm gonna say that the Suns do have a little bit more of a darker future, mainly because we just saw the Mavs obviously make a trade, and we still haven't seen completely, I feel like, what that's gonna look like, you know. So, and I do like what Victor said with the Suns having capital or having, you know, that value in KD and D Book where if they ever do want to trade up, or not trade up, I guess, but trade away those guys or you know, change things around, I still feel like that won't be enough to put them in a better position than what the Mavs are right now. And neither of these two teams are in great positions, I might add. Um, but I do think that if there was a time to like get the most out of maybe someone like KD, it was probably a little bit before now. I feel like head to head, having AD and Kyrie, let's say, on the same team in the terms of the Mavs, I think is a little bit better off for their future than the Suns having KD, if that makes sense.
I'm 100% with you on that. Um, I just don't see Kevin Durant as a winning player anymore, unless like he can't be the first option on a team. And we've talked briefly about this before, but Victor, I like what you said about how with the current assets they have and like the trade value, they could get a lot back. Um, so that was good. Although with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant's contracts, I'm not really sure what you're gonna get back. Um, because they're just so high in value that you would almost have to trade for another superstar just to like match the contracts and get the numbers right. Um, but yeah, like let's just dive a little bit into what Kevin was talking about with this roster. The center depth is just absolutely horrible. That's the big thing with this team, right? So you got Iguodaro, their rookie. You have Mason Plumlee, and you have Nick Richards. Like that doesn't even seem real. That genuinely doesn't seem real that that is their actual center rotation right now. So, yeah, this team needs a lot of work. Um, but yeah, what's their draft capital look like right now? What's how are they looking with like draft picks?
I believe it's all been pissed away. I think in order to actually achieve a trade with KD or Book, it's going to be a three-team trade. Absolutely.
Yeah, it
I
has to
think
be.
it's so much more common nowadays with just the amount of money these players are making and just the value their name alone holds. So
Mhm.
it's going to take some wheeling and dealing. You know, Book possibly making a home to Michigan or making a comeback home to Michigan. I know a lot of people have been anticipating that and want to see that. You know, we can get into that a little bit more later when we talk about Detroit, but kind of just looking at Phoenix, like AD isn't the youngest. He's still playing at a very high and elite level, but dude, they just have absolutely zero depth. The Mavericks actually have a very good team. It's just that
Yeah.
they aren't playing.
it just really depends on like how this offseason is gonna look for the Phoenix Suns for me to decide on if I mean I do think that they could if they do trade KD like they said they would, and then see what they could potentially get back. And then if Devin Booker's out of there, I know he was saying that he wants to be a Phoenix Sun for life. So they're probably not going to trade him, but with these GMs, what they've been doing recently, you never know. So it just really depends on what they get back. But like looking at their roster right now, like you guys said, it's not good. I think the only thing that their biggest bright spot outside of Katie and D Book is Ryan Dunn.
And that's not even
Yeah.
like that bright of a spot.
Yeah.
It's
Say,
bright, but
unless this dude just turns out insane. But also, they're locked in with Bradley Beal for like what, another 2 years?
yeah.
He's got that no trade
He's there
clause
for
in his
life.
contract. Damn near. I mean, yeah, 2 more years, no trade clause. He got paid a pretty penny too, so it's not looking good, bruv. It's
What
gonna get a little cloudy in Phoenix.
what is your guys' like expectation of what the Suns are gonna do to improve their situation?
Probably bring back the same roster and hope it works again, like they did last year.
Pray.
Like when the GM or whoever the hell it was like, "No, I think we're good." Last year when
Yeah.
they got eliminated, they're like, "No, I think we're there."
And then the
Bring it.
Western every team got better.
That's like
Well,
the worst thing that you
go
could
on.
possibly have is like a fan and see your GM just be proud of an absolutely mid team, especially being from like a Chicago fan. Them doing that, Pat Riley has been known to do that, hasn't pulled a trigger at all on some trades.
It's like,
I
nah,
was
we're
gonna
running it
say,
back.
as a
Yeah.
Bulls fan, that sounded like you were projecting right there. But yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that the first move is going to be Budenholzer gets fired, right?
But they
So
said,
now you're,
wait, they actually did say that. That was they're gonna fire him in the offseason, I think.
yeah, like I mean, they didn't
100%.
have to they didn't have to say it. Like that's move number one. Budenholzer's gone, right? So now you're bringing in a new coach, and you have to develop all these player relationships again, change your whole system again. I think that I think is that James Jones in the front office, right? James Jones is the
Yeah.
GM.
Yep.
Jones is gonna overhaul the roster, I think, this offseason. I think KD is for sure gone. I don't really do you think does anybody here think that KD will still be on the roster by the start of next season?
And where's he gonna go?
That is up to him. He's gonna go wherever he requests, but I bet if you want my lottery pick, my lottery ticket, I bet he's on the Rockets. We've also discussed this on the pod before that that's like the only spot where I think he'll fit just as in his current state. But I think KD is for sure gone. Hypothetically, they get rid of Beal, but Beal will probably still be there. So it'll be Booker, Beal, and then using KD's contract to build around the team, make some moves. But
Yeah,
even with those moves, it's never going to be enough. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm in agreement with you. Like even if there's nowhere to go for KD, I still feel like they have to you like for his career, for the Suns' future, for everyone involved. I feel like it's a no-brainer. You have to get rid of KD or let him go, free him.
I mean, if it's anywhere, I think it could be OKC. They got the picks.
There's no way.
It's possible.
There's who are they going to
What?
trade for Kevin Durant?
Oh, yeah.
Like 14 seventh graders that they have.
I mean, I think it's highly, highly unlikely that that happens.
But
Is
like, who
that
the Rockets trade though?
The Rockets, I think, could give up like Jabari Smith and Dylan Brooks or some kind of deal
They
like
would probably
that.
get rid of Terry Eason too.
Yeah, it'll probably have to be Tari Eason, like and of course I don't have the contracts in front of me,
And
but
Whitmore.
yeah,
I hope Houston doesn't do that.
I feel like they would. I feel like Phoenix wouldn't want him, but because like why do they need another guard who can score when they already have Beal and Booker? But Tari Eason's a really good one. I'd probably say Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr. would have to be involved in the deal because now you got a stretch big, you got two stretch forwards to kind of line out your front court depth. But I could also see like Dylan Brooks thrown in that trade. I mean, hell, we might even see like Fred. I doubt they do Fred, but like does make sense. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah.
Is the only reason why you don't see him on OKC because of the fact that they can't trade for him?
Like,
Or
why would you do that? What value does Kevin Durant bring to your team at that point?
But how much does he bring to Houston, though? I think Houston would be stupid to do that.
See, Houston's big thing, like we've been seeing all years, they have no half court offense, right? Once they get in the half court, they're primarily a transition team. There's really no creation outside of Fred and like a Sengun post up, but that's kind of not really creation. He's getting the shots created for him. And I mean, that's the big thing is like there's absolutely no half court scoring, no creation. So by getting Kevin Durant in there, now you have all of that creation. You have the go-to guy that they've been waiting for there because no one can decide if it's Jalen Green or Sengun. And that's not even saying Kevin Durant has to be the go-to guy. It might be Sengun next season, but now you have an extremely solid backup scorer. So I just think that is a better fit than like why OKC is number one in the West. They literally are all young. All of their players are super high quality, like gold tier role players. Why would you give up any of them for a 36-year-old Kevin Durant?
I just don't know if I see Houston. I don't know if I see Phoenix actually pulling the trigger on this deal without getting Amen Thompson, though. So hypothetically, if they get rid of Amen Thompson and then Dylan Brooks, then they get rid of like their two key pieces of what like makes them great, which is their defense. Because then getting KD over there, you get rid of those two guys hypothetically. I feel like you're kind of in the same spot that Phoenix was a season or two ago.
You see, yes, you're giving up defenders, but the team is so good all around defensively that I feel like you're just leveling the playing field a bit. You're still gonna have, let's say you give up Amon Thompson and I don't think they would give up both of them. I think they would give up one. But even if you give up both, you still have like Tari Easton coming off the bench. You still have Jabari Smith Jr., who's a super versatile switching big. You still have Jalen Green, who's taking steps. So, I mean, there's your trade-offs, you know, like they're only so good at defense because they have no creation on offense. I feel like giving up one of those guys, hypothetically, you would give up Dylan Brooks. I feel like you're not like what you're getting in offense with Kevin Durant is worth way more than what you lose with one player on defense, if that makes sense.
Plus, Dylan Brooks' contract isn't it 110 million or something?
I could look it up, but keep going.
But like you were talking about matching players' salaries, and I was just thinking that would take up a lot of it. I can't think of Katie's contract off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it's probably in the ballpark of 200 million.
Yeah. Dylan Brooks Rockets contract. Of course, I looked it up, and it's 4 years, 80 million.
Oh, okay.
So he makes 20 million a year. Um, and
Oh,
Amon
okay.
Thompson, I think, is still on a rookie deal too. So
Yeah.
Durant's is 194 million.
yeah, so still a lot of stuff to fill, and obviously you can throw picks in and stuff and throw in value, but um, I just think like yes, Oklahoma City has all these picks, right? But like everyone on that team is so young and they're so successful already. Training for Katie now, I don't think makes sense because look at this team in 5 years when they're all like mature, primed players. This team is going to like repeat championships. And obviously, they can't pay everyone, on the team. So that's probably like Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins. Those guys are going to go get paid somewhere else. But that's exactly why you just keep drafting. Like they've been so successful in the draft. You might as well just draft someone to replace them, right? So I don't know. I also don't think they really need the scoring with Shea.
I think the only time if the Thunder were to get Kevin Durant is when he's going to retire and have that like farewell tour. Just have him on the Suns for one last season, one last go, and he just retires there.
See, I don't see that for KD. I see him retiring randomly at 37 and just seeing that picture of him like this, and it just says retired on Bleacher Report. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and then he'd be like, there was really no reason for me to let anyone know. Like give some like something that seems so humble and so stand tall when really it was just like, why would you do that? Katie, you're the hero, of course, as always. That's how it's gonna be
I'm
framed.
I'm inclined to agree with you on the whole OKC thing as you explained your point of view because I think as um you know fans the popular opinion right now is that okay, yeah, like KD would obvious that would be cool to see him on OKC. They're back to doing well, been in the culture before. It's a no-brainer, but at the same time, like you explained it also is. And I mean, I have my opinions of KD on the side, like where does he actually fit well? But you know, I think when it comes to specifically, um, oh my God, OKC, I think yeah, it's probably in their best interest to stay away from my guy, from the Reaper.
So I found this trade from Bleacher Report, and it's with the Miami Heat, and it's Kevin Durant going to the Miami Heat, and the Phoenix Suns would receive Khalil Ware, Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, a 2025 first round pick, and a 2031 first round pick. What are you
Not a
guys'
bad
thoughts on
trade.
that?
You're also getting the terrorist of NBA basketball, Terry Rozier. So that's the first problem with that trade. That's like an instant wave by
Yeah.
by Phoenix. Go ahead, Kevin. You seem like you want to say something. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna say it seems like a pretty like fair trade, but like, dude, Miami's so bad right now.
They're 4-17 since the trade.
Since the trade they had, dude, they are so horrible. I know Kevin Durant had the idea of going to Miami like 2 seasons ago when he was getting out of Brooklyn, but right now I do not think he would be too heavily in favor of that right now. Honestly, kind of just like looking at a list of the teams in the league, I just don't really know where they could trade him. Could they get something done? And will they? Absolutely. But I feel like it's just going to be a complete random team out of left field that we're not even looking at. Like
Yeah.
Indy, that could happen. Maybe. Who
The
knows?
Kings, Sacramento
The
Like
Kings.
Kings. Why
like
not?
not really a contender.
Memphis.
Could see it being the
Like
Hawks.
maybe,
No, no way.
I don't know. Maybe this
That
dude
would be
ends up in
crazy.
Memphis somehow. Like I feel like he's gonna get traded to a team just completely out of left field. LA, the Clippers. I could see that for some odd reason. Like
Dude, the Hawks low-key could give a good package now that they have just like a surplus of random wings with like Levert, Terrence Mann, Niang, Krejci. Like they got some like decent wings there that you could throw into a trade to get Kevin Durant. But yeah, it's just I'm so over Kevin Durant now, man. This is the third time I've watched this guy like and been in full confidence this guy's gonna win a chip. And he just goes basically ruins a team and then wants out. It's like, dude.
okay, he did not ruin the Suns. And he didn't even want to get traded out of Phoenix. When they brought it up, he was kind of upset.
I was gonna say I feel like the Suns have kind of been in this same dilemma for since the Chris Paul days. Like not much has changed, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, hold on. Kevin Durant definitely wanted to go to the Suns.
No,
He
I think
definitely requested to be traded to the Suns. They were the first seed that year when he requested the trade.
Yeah, who said they didn't?
Yeah.
no, he mistook you for saying that Katie didn't want to get traded from Brooklyn when you said that KD didn't want to get traded from Phoenix in the first place. Like the trade rumors just came out of nowhere from Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, behind the scenes, it's the same thing with Brooklyn. He never openly came out and requested a trade, but everyone knew he wanted to be traded. But apart from what reports say, I'm gonna go and say that that's probably more what happened. Because remember, he did like the silent behind the scenes request after Kyrie left, and it never broke public until like the day before it happened. I feel like it's like that. Because like, he's not gonna stay on a team that's not contending. Come on, we know Kevin Durant.
I mean, I feel like that's all superstars once you get to that age and
But
experience in the
Kevin
league.
Durant specifically, though,
For
like
sure. Yeah, but I'm just saying once you do your due diligence in the league and you put some miles on your body, you want to play for a contender and try to get a championship if you don't already have one.
yeah,
I
yeah.
do, I do like what Kevin said, though. I do have a feeling, I think it was Kevin, that if KD does go somewhere, I have a feeling it's going to be a random team. Non-contending this time, too. I'd actually disagree that KD's going to go to another contending team this after the Suns.
Oh, FC Barcelona?
He could be a nice six man on the Celtics.
Or, wait,
If Katie
Jesus.
goes to Chicago, you guys would be in the exact same position you've been dreading for so long.
But we'll have KD.
Yeah, but you'll be an eighth seed every year.
I don't want to.
Actually, maybe not. Maybe not. You guys are actually kind of heating up right now, so
Yeah,
maybe
they're about to be in the play-in, man.
I'll put a pin in that. Actually, Josh Giddey quadruple double watch, like Kevin brought up outside of the pod. Let's
They're
talk
smacking teams
Mavericks.
right now. It's stupid.
So, how do we feel about the Mavericks then? Kevin, you can go first. How do you feel Mavericks future wise? Because we talked a bit about Phoenix.
I mean, dude, they have a very solid roster right now. I mean, just at the end of the day, like I hate to sound like a broken record, but Jesus, this team has just got plagued by injuries. Literally lost every single big that they had on the roster. And just every other player it seemed like they had. Kyrie obviously getting a pretty bad injury to the point where the availability almost cost them having to forfeit games and actually having to sign players that were on two-way contracts who they probably didn't want to freaking sign. That's why they were on two ways in the first place. It was just such everything that could have went wrong for Dallas this year just went wrong. Trading Luka,
First
they
off,
still have a very solid like team, like personnel wise. They have a very good team. It's just we don't know how good they are fully healthy because we haven't seen it yet.
I was gonna say, first off, they do have one center. Dwight Powell is still on the roster.
Well, I guess we
uh,
can say that. Okay. You were right at one center. AD came back yesterday. I'm not. We're not counting Dwight Powell.
did he play yesterday?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. I missed that. Dang it.
So what I wanted to bring up earlier was I think Kevin was talking about why bringing back AD and why the Mavericks even did that, but it was Anthony Davis's decision, and he was saying, "I play basketball. This is what I get paid to do." And when he asked why it was important for him to return, he said, "Anytime I get a chance to come out and play, I'm gonna do it. I see obviously we were a man down forever. Sometimes playing with seven guys, sometimes playing with six, eight." And so, I mean, I feel like as the Mavericks was having such a horrible season this year, and not a lot of the people were happy getting AD. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a bright spot seeing that AD is gonna come out there and try to play basketball when healthy. Obviously, this season didn't go as planned for the Mavericks, and Nico Harrison thought that they would be able to push for the playoffs, but that didn't happen. So I think next year definitely they could do something once everybody's back, and we'll see how the pieces go together and if they have chemistry. I think they could do something.
Also, we
Yeah.
have no idea when Kyrie's going to return
Yeah.
because he got a pretty bad injury very late in the season.
If I
So
had to
it could
get,
be like next year in January when he returns. To be honest, it could be even after that.
Yeah, I was just saying I'm no doctor, but I would just assume December or January.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this Mavs team, man. Um, just because we saw when the trade happened and we were like to be able to say like, oh my God, injuries cannot happen. Like in order for Nico Harris to stay within good health, they have to stay healthy. And almost the exact opposite is what happened. Like I remember us saying, oh, hopefully AD stays healthy. I don't even think Kyrie being healthy was even a thought in our mind, but it was just like, hopefully AD stays healthy. And then AD goes out. Kyrie has it was an ACL tear or
ACL
no?
tear. Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, that alone is another thing that we can spend probably a bunch of time talking about because based on Kyrie's play style, is he going to be the same Kyrie, that we've seen in the past? Because we know how bad this injury can be for players. So that being said, it's I do think that next year this team will be good. I do think that they have, like Kevin said, good players on their roster, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't see them getting back to the place that they were with Luca. And I think that they kind of just traded away their opportunity to do that again.
So where do you guys think the Mavericks will finish next year?
Top six, playoffs, but
No, I want a spot. I want one spot, specific spot. Where do you think they're finishing next year?
I was gonna say six. If they're in the playoffs, it's like six.
Assuming, let's say Kyrie comes back in February, they can finish seventh.
When you asked that question, my mind went to sixth. I think they could get sixth.
What about you, Miles?
I was gonna say 7 or 8. 7 or 8, they'll finish
One
next year.
spot, no
Oh yeah.
range.
Uh, yeah, good point. I did say that. Um, gosh, that's just such a big. That like one spot difference means so much now. I say they could finish eighth. They'll probably finish eighth next year. Um, so really with our predictions, it doesn't look like it's very bright. At least the Suns, shoot, depending on what the Suns do, they might actually be ahead of them based on what we said. If they trade KD for some solid role players or another star, which I doubt they do, but we could see the Suns like at 9. So maybe they go and get Aiton back. That would be fun.
I was gonna say next season they'll probably be flirting with each other in the rankings, very close,
That's
two
what
three
they're
games behind,
that's what
like
they're doing
exactly
right
what they're
now.
doing right now, having the exact same record.
Yeah.
So is the so neither team's gonna get darker. Is that what we're concluding?
Or maybe when we were saying, the Mavs are just going to be so good next season, and there really is, or the Mavs are gonna once they're healthy, they're gonna be great. I mean, the Mavs minus Kyrie Irving for half a season, we just all agreed will finish pretty much seventh, seventh or below. So like, based on what we're saying and where we rank them, those are two very different things. Is kind of where I was going with that. Um,
The West is so
so yeah,
competitive.
maybe it's not as clear as we initially thought it was going to be, but because obviously, I mean, the Suns is like the low hanging fruit. It's like, yeah, the Suns suck. Katie empty stats argument, and then the Mavericks is like, they're hurt. So I think in 3 seasons, right? How old is AD right now? Has anybody got that off the top?
I think he's
32.
yeah, I was gonna say he's either
33.
31 or 32.
So Kyrie is also what, 32? I think Kyrie is.
Yeah, they're the same age, I believe.
All
So
right, Anthony
Kyrie,
Davis
so
is 32. Kyrie's 33.
How am I
okay, and then
so
how old's Clay now? Their core, Clay
35.
Clay
Thompson.
is 35.
So we got 35, 33, and 32. And that's 32 on a highly injury-prone player, right? And I know, don't get me started on, oh, well, he played a lot last 2 seasons, just historically, right? So we got 3 people on the backside of their prime. And next year was pretty much my limit for them. I was going to say, if they're not competing for a championship next year, it's a bust. It's a bust right away because I know the Kyrie injury is so unfortunate. You can't predict that because if he was there all season, you could see a push for a championship. Now, you still can. I'm not ruling it out, but it's going to be much harder, and it's much harder for me to envision right now, right? So, my thing is in 3 seasons, let's say the Suns trade Kevin Durant this offseason, we get back some role players and we start building chemistry for those 3 seasons, right? Now we're looking at the Phoenix Suns are much younger. Devin Booker has much longer of a career. I mean, what is he, 25 right now? He'll be entering his
27.
technical prime. Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought he was so young. So he'll be like mid prime, pretty much primed out, top of his game at that point. Then you got all your role players. Ryan Dunn will have more development. You'll obviously have your pieces that you've drafted and you've traded for from this Kevin Durant trade. Then you have the Mavericks, who have some solid pieces, but they're all super old. You know, we're dealing with injuries now. We don't know what it's going to look like in 3 years. Depending on what the Suns do this offseason that we haven't seen yet, I'm kind of inclined to say that the Suns might have a better future. It really is going to depend on what they get for KD and if Beal leaves, but more so what they get for KD. Because in that 2 years, Beal's contract is also up. So they don't have to re-sign him. They can't trade him, but they don't have to re-sign him.
Yeah, I do agree. Oh, go ahead, Daniel.
Go ahead, Vic.
I was just saying I do agree with that because I did think that the Mavericks, although they have a brighter future, like it's right now, and it's in the within the next 1 to 2 years that that future is there and allowing them to have a somewhat of a championship window if everything goes right. But after that, it's like what's left because you're gonna have aging superstars like you said with Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson. We would have to see guys like Max Christie develop, Najee Marshall. He's been playing pretty good this season. Um, who else? I'm probably missing
Quentin Grimes,
Quinn Grimes.
Derek Lively. And
Wait,
that's
Quinn
the
Grimes?
thing,
No,
man.
Quinn Grimes is on
Right.
the
He's on
Sixers.
the
Or
Sixers.
sorry. I meant what I meant to say was Caleb Martin, but now that I'm thinking about it, Caleb Martin actually isn't even like
Yeah,
we've
he's
kind
not
of
that
already
young.
seen his peak. That's because that's who they traded for. But yeah, and like with all due respect, Kyrie might come back and he may never be the same player again. Like legitimately, he's 32-year-old, just went down with an ACL injury. So like if he's comes back and he's not the same, and like he won't be the same, but if he's not close to that kind of caliber of player, like dude, they're screwed because his contract is also I think it expires in 3 years. Did he sign a contract in the offseason? What's Kyrie's contract right now? I'm pretty sure it
He has a
like
player option this summer.
player option this summer, so he's going to take the player option considering he just tore his ACL, right?
Yeah, he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2026, 2027 season.
Yes, so he's locked up. He's locked up, and he got injured in pretty much like the first few, like first half of his tenure, right? So I don't know, man. A lot of it's gonna come down to Kyrie Irving, how he is coming back, what he's gonna do contractually, if he's gonna play a lot, if he's gonna remain knee problems for the rest of his career. You pair that with 80. Klay Thompson's going to be 37 in 2 seasons. Victor, you said 1 to 2 seasons. In reality, I think it's almost like it's next season. That's pretty much their ceiling. Because after that, I don't know, man.
The
I
more
really don't know.
the more that we jump down this rabbit hole, and I'm reminded that Klay Thompson also had an ACL tear and is also not the same player that he was, and now Kyrie has to deal with the same. Um, yeah, the Suns are, I think, in a slightly better position as long as they do make some changes and don't just run it back. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, after talking about it for as long as we have, I think it wasn't as obvious as I originally thought. The Mavs are in some trouble for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound stupid, but assuming like Kyrie and AD retire, whatever the case, like look at the Mavericks team for a second. Gafford is still young, Lively is still young, PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Max Christie. Those are still very good players that you would love to have on your team. The only thing is they're missing is like a star
Yeah.
to have. So they still have a pretty solid core of guys that they'd be able to put something together. So I still am in favor of that future a lot more than Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Because first off, Phoenix is going to need a coach. They're going to hire some id to come in there, probably. I mean, what coaches are available right now? They're gonna bring back Monty.
Darvin Ham.
They're gonna wait 2 years and then get LeBron. Sorry.
I don't know, Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks is out there, I guess.
Scott Brooks is out there. Steve Nash, give him another shot.
Jock Vaughn, one more time. Yeah, I don't know, man. In terms of coaches, it's a toss-up. I feel like teams just pretty much hire whoever's available. That's already
Just
kind of established.
just like whoever's the assistant. Like, all right, bro, you're promoted.
It might
Oh,
be
Mike
like Will
Brown.
Hardy, Mike Woodson?
Dan
Question mark.
Dan Hurley, he didn't get the three-peat at UConn.
That's actually hilarious. Mike Woodson has signed
Dude,
to the Phoenix Suns.
I'm not gonna get into.
That'd be horrible. Horrible, horrible stuff. But fellas, let's wrap up here. We've been talking about this for a minute. Let's go just quick final verdict and final thought if you have one. I'm going to say that Phoenix actually kind of has the better future right now.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna go
go. Ooh, you go. I cut you
I
off
hate
first.
when you guys do that so much.
I know. I don't know how it happens so
I
often.
hate when you guys do that.
But no, I think I'm gonna go with with all the injuries that are happening to the core of the Mavericks. I think the Suns getting rid of some guys and making some changes will be the better team with a better future.
I'm gonna go short term.
No,
Matt,
no, no. One
fine,
team.
man. Okay, I was gonna go the Phoenix Suns. That's what I said the first time.
I'm gonna go with the Dallas Mavericks. Have a better future.
All right. There you have it. GMLB family, let us know what you think below. But fellas, let's move on to the Detroit Pistons. Currently in the East, they are sitting at the 6th seed, 40-32, a 40-win season. Couple games away from officially being over 500 for the season as well. Saw that the other day. Who would have thought, man? After the absolute dumpster fire that was last season, I feel like I'm almost repeating these words. I feel like I said that exact phrase a couple pods ago. But 40-32, looking really solid. Cade probably going to win the most improved player this year. Give or take, there is some controversy on that. I don't really see why. I think he's improved a lot, but everyone wants Christian Brown to win it for some reason, when really all he did was play more minutes. We'll get into that another day. But, fellas, looks like right now they're going to be matched with the second seed plays 7, third plays 6, 4, and 5. Okay, looks like they're going to play the New York Knicks in the first round. If you ask me, that's a winnable series. That is a very winnable series. That's probably, besides the Bucks, that's probably the most ideal opponent in the East for them. But fellas, what do you think? Do you think the Pistons can run away with a 3v6 Pistons versus Knicks victory, and in how many games?
With the Knicks, it's difficult because I don't know if I trust Jalen Duren to go out there and guard Cat. I don't know if he'll be able to keep up that well. if they were to beat the Knicks in a playoff series, I would have to. I'm going to say it's going to go the full 7 if they do beat the Knicks. If they even play the Knicks, like you said, assuming the playoffs started right this second. If they do beat the Knicks, it's going to go the full 7. Going into MSG as that young of a team in the playoffs is going to be extremely difficult. Some of those youngins are going to get dime tight.
Cade just hit that game winner against the Knicks, right? That bank shot three. That was the Knicks, yeah, in MSG on national television.
I don't know why
I
I'm
think
blanking.
it was Miami.
Was it? Ah, man. Maybe I'm combining two games. I know they won. They went into MSG and won this season. Maybe that bank shot was against a different was against the Heat, like you said. Yeah, you're right. It was against the Heat. I'm tripping. Anyway, not important. What do you
But
guys think, Daniel and Victor?
I think I'm inclined to say that the Knicks will still pull through on that series. But mm, I don't know. I was looking at other teams that they could match up against, and New York seems like one of their harder competitions to go against. Um, but I guess it's not impossible, but I just think matchup wise, New York just kind of is a little bit better off than the Pistons will be. And I would have to say if they were to go into a game against each other, I think they could push a game. They could push a game 6. I don't think they'd get to a game 7. So I guess from my point of view, I don't really think the Pistons have a shot at beating the Knicks.
I think it's gonna be a super fun series, man.
uh,
Yeah, I really want that series to be a thing because the Knicks, or I'm sorry, the Pistons actually won the season series 2-1, beat the Knicks twice. Close games. They did get blown out in November when they were kind of getting their footing. Um, Looks like by about 30 points they lost in November, but they were a different team in November. Let's not get it twisted, fellas. They're still coming off that season, you know. Um, but yeah, man, what would it take for the Pistons to win? Victor, what do you think it would take?
I think it's gonna take them to have a really good defensive series against the Knicks. And this season they've been playing pretty good defensively. I think they were even a couple. I remember seeing a stat a couple game or like a couple weeks ago that they were either top 5 in defensive rating, and I think they would have to have the defense compared with a little bit of luck, and by that luck I mean I think Tibbs would have to run the starters minutes, like keep playing them and then run out of gas and eventually get hurt. That I think that's the way that the Pistons could win. But I do think it's gonna be a fun series, like you said. It's definitely going to 6. I think it's gonna be 4-2 Knicks
Yeah,
if it was to play today.
currently for the full season, they're sitting ninth at defensive rating. Um, yeah, net rating, it looks like they're probably a lot lower. Oh, they're 11th. Wow. 11th in net rating. That's pretty good for a team who came off the biggest win or losing streak of all time. But um,
Speaking of that, um, I do have something about that. So the Pistons are one of the most improved teams of all time at number 6. They had a Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. They increased their win percentage by 38% from last season. Can you guys guess who's number 1 is? What team in NBA history?
hmm, hmm,
Look at an
coming,
80-year timeline.
yeah, coming
What?
from like one of the worst teams that like just the biggest turnaround, pretty much.
Yeah. This team did a 51% win increase from the previous season because they added 3 players. No, two
2015
players,
Warriors.
sorry.
The Nets? Is it the 2019 Nets?
No. Or
Hmm.
this was a 2000s
Oh,
team.
okay. So 2000 to 2010, basically, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Okay. Um,
Is it 04 Detroit?
No.
that was a good one. That was a good one, actually, to think.
2000s to 2000. Could it be
Because
the
they
Lakers?
added.
Nope.
Is it like the Miami Heat with like Shaq and D Wade?
No, it wasn't. I'm gonna just give it to you guys. It was the 2008 Celtics.
Oh, dude, we're so stupid. I'm so stupid. Of course it is. For some reason, I didn't even think of them because before the season before, Paul Pierce was hurt too. So they were like actually trash bins.
I didn't know how
That
good they actually were before KG and Ray Allen got there. So
that
that's
was
why I
such
kind of
a
outruled them.
that was such a lob, and I that's on me. Honestly, that's on me. I should have gotten that like right away. I forgot that everyone was hurt the year before that happened. Anyway, back to the Pistons outlook. Pistons quietly have one of the greatest shooters of all time, just like sitting on their roster in Malik Beasley. I wish there was a stat that would tell us like exactly how great of a shooter a person is. And I guess that would be like true shooting percentage, but like I wish it was comparative to like the rest of the league over like seasons just to know exactly how insane Malik Beasley's shooting season has been. There probably is out there somewhere, and I'm just like not seeing it. But
You
um,
you can look at numbers all day. At the end of the day, all that stuff's make believe. Watch a game. This dude doesn't miss.
yeah, it's literally yeah. I'm complete like that's
It's
exactly
it's
how I
insane.
feel. It's
Like
exactly how I feel with this.
I watch and I'm just like, dude, who is he?
It's just like where did he come from, man? I knew he was a good shooter, but like to this extent is insane. Um, but so who are they starting right now? They're starting Cade. They're starting. Are they still starting Tim Hardaway Jr. at the
Yeah.
moment?
Tim
Tim Hardaway
Hardaway,
Jr., Tobias
As
Harris, Jalen Duren,
and Asar.
and Asar in place of Jay Ivey, who might be coming back. That's another thing.
Ivy's
Jay
coming
Ivey,
back.
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check this, fellas, but I'm pretty sure I saw the report that Jay Ivey is coming back.
There's no
Um,
way. Dude, I remember I can't remember what he did to what injury it was, but I remember that being brutal.
yeah, never mind. I thought I was cooking. I must have dreamt this.
I was gonna
Okay,
say,
okay.
man, I
Here's
could
here's the report. Ivy remains day to day, but hasn't ruled out a potential return this season. That's the report I saw.
Here's one.
But then New York
Santel.
Times says no. That's ESPN. New York Times says there's no definitive return date, which is like that's just there's no definitive return date,
Yeah,
right?
this is something I'm seeing right now. It says the Pistons announced Thursday that Ivy's lower leg has transitioned to weight-bearing strengthening exercises. The 24-year-old's recovery progress will be updated in another 4 weeks.
So they basically said he started doing pool exercises. Nice.
It's so honestly, I'm reading. It's so hot and cold on him. Half these articles are super optimistic that he can come back, and the other half are like super like he's not coming back. I've never seen such confused reports.
Dude, he got carried out on a stretcher, I remember. There's no way he's coming back.
Bro,
Like
all
those
he
were
did was like break his leg. It really wasn't that serious. He was in a lot of pain, but like it's not like he like Sean Livingston his leg.
I
It
can't remember exactly how it looked,
was a
but
broken fibula.
yeah.
Hmm. Out of curiosity, something I wanted to ask you guys is who do you guys think has the better bench between these two teams?
Oh,
Who's going to have the better chance?
the Pistons
Yeah.
easily, easily the Pistons, bro. The
I
Knicks bench is horrible. That's why they don't play them.
I agree because I realized I didn't really like mention anything for what I could see or like how I could see the Detroit Pistons winning this series. But depth, I mean, that could come into their favor for sure.
Yeah. Another thing too, the Pistons can still move up a few spots because they're one game behind Milwaukee in fifth and 2 games behind Indy. They're only 4 games behind the third seed in New York. Now, can they squeeze their way up to the third seed in the next 10 games? Sure. I don't think it'll happen, but they can move up a spot or two. Possibly. I'd say one, absolute, like max. I think they could, which would have them against. They could still play New York or they could play Indy. They could beat Indy, 100%.
They would be. I think they would be Indy. You know what?
I don't
Call it
know.
recency bias. Indy looked really freaking good last night. I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
Indy plays really, really fast. I feel like Detroit might have a little trouble keeping up with that. I think if Detroit plays Indy, Indy will play Jalen Duren out of the rotation.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I think they could definitely play him out of the rotation. I think New York could play him out of the rotation, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say is I feel like the Pistons have a better chance at beating the Knicks than they do the Pacers. Siakam's been having a really good year. They've been playing really good basketball as of late too.
Yeah. Like Miles, what you said, what you asked Vic earlier, like what could they do to win? Kind of a bland answer, but it matters just so much. Experience. This team was dog poop last year. Like 75 straight losses. And now they're very good this year. It's a completely different year, completely different team. But like this is like everybody on this single team right now. This is like their first year being on a winning team. And they're led by someone who's as old as us. So I don't know if I have that much faith in it. Future looks insane. They're up. But this year it's kind of hard for me to imagine them to win a playoff series. But them just getting there is huge.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a way to talk myself into thinking that the Pistons could potentially beat the Knicks. I want to get there. I'm gonna get there somehow, depending on how long this conversation goes. I'm gonna find something, and I will try to manipulate everyone on the pod into believing that. But right now, nothing's coming. Daniel did make a good point with the depth, though. I mean, it's not like much better, like the depth that they have on the Pistons. Like it's Tech, Holland, and then obviously Beasley, Schroeder, and Stu. But it's just an all around better mesh of players than like Deuce McBride. And is Precious Achua, like, does he play? Is he even in the rotation anymore? Now that Mitchell Robinson's back. I haven't caught a Knicks game in a little bit. It's been a couple weeks, honestly. That's kind of bad. I need to watch the Knicks again. But I just hate watching that team. Complete tangent here. They're kind of boring to watch. To me, at least. But anyway.
I'm wondering how long Brunson's going to be out because he did get that ankle injury. And I did read a report that it's going to be another week till he gets reevaluated.
Yeah. I mean, with how much minutes he's going to be playing in the playoffs, I wouldn't hate if they just sat him until the playoffs came. Because he's going to be playing in the playoffs this year.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. He got injured last year in the playoffs against Indiana, which the whole roster did. But they're going to need him.
Do we think the Knicks will beat the Pacers? Who do you have in that series, depending on how this, like, because if Brunson sits the rest of the season, they could, like, drop.
I really hope the Knicks and Pacers get a chance to run it back. Because there's a lot of people saying, like, oh, it was fluky, like, the Knicks were hurt. Not quite sure if I believe it in, like, all the nonsense, because at the end of the day, the Pacers did win, and that's what matters. I really want to see that playoff series get ran back, because it was a really fun series last year, seeing those two go at it. And I really want to go to that game, so I'm really pulling for that.
I want to, if I had one preferred Eastern Conference matchup, besides like Celtics, Cavs, obviously, I would want to see the Bucks play the Pacers. I feel like that would be the best playoff series in the East besides the one I just said.
I like
Because,
that.
dude, I feel like those teams just always beef with each other.
Yeah.
And like after what happened last year too, with like the injuries again and like all that,
Yeah.
dude, I want to just see them play. I think the Pacers could beat them though.
It
That's like
could.
why I want to see the
Oh yeah.
Pacers beat them.
Yeah, 100%. The thing is, like, again, if playoffs started today, that series is happening.
I know.
Indianapolis home court advantage, like that's very possible.
I really hope it stays so that I can watch that. But yeah. So
I
I feel like go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, like on the topic of depth, between Knicks and Detroit, I think another big thing is obviously just gonna be matchups. Like right now, it looks like Tobias Harris is gonna be guarding OG, and Tim Hardaway is gonna be guarding Mikal Bridges, which like I don't know. I guess I can imagine a world where if you limit those two, and Cat's obviously going to do his thing, Josh Hart's obviously going to do his thing, but so is Asar. So I feel like if you're able to isolate some spots and kind of block up that New York Knicks team, the depth, which what I mentioned earlier, will kind of come into play, and then that's Detroit's game, kind of.
I feel like I'd imagine they'd either put OG or Josh Hart on Cade. Probably
Uh,
OG.
I was gonna say it's probably Hart, just more nimble, same size.
I don't know, dude. Who would OG guard?
OG would probably guard Tobias, I would assume. Tobias
Yeah,
Harris.
see, I would assume, but he's way too good of a defender to put on Tobias.
Or what
If I
about
was a
Malik?
coach, I would put him on Cade and just have Josh Hart just I guess go chase Tobias Harris around if you want. If not, I don't care. But
Yeah.
that's what I would do. But I feel like I don't know. Like I said, man, when those older players, like no pun intended, when the OGs start, when the playoffs come and they sit in the chair, defense tightens up a little bit. I don't know. It could shake up Cade a little bit. As great as he is in
Yeah.
MSG during the playoffs.
I need to see Cade in the playoffs, bro. I need to see it just one time to see how he performs so I can build a narrative based off one series.
Yeah. I mean, as of now, they're a playoff team. The Hawks being right behind them, 7 seed, they're 5 games behind. So as long as they don't take a dump in the last 10 games of the season, like they'll be fine. They'll definitely have a lock spot.
Yeah. All right. Kevin, let's get into it. I've been waiting for this. Let's that was a hard transition. Let me smooth this out a little bit. Let me land the plane here. That's gonna do it for our Detroit Pistons talk. Doesn't seem like we're very high on the Pistons winning a series, but we all do want to see it. It seems like may just be a bit early, but let's go ahead and transition here to our final topic, a little interactive topic, if you will. Not really, but kind of. There's been some discourse about third options in the NBA, but we're going to give the definitive answer to our co host, Big Kev. This is Big Kev's top 5 third options in the NBA. Kevin, go ahead and break down who you got in terms of third options.
Yeah, man. The NBA's gotten so goddamn good. We're talking about who's the third best player on every single team. Who would have thunk it? Coming in at number 5, I'm going with J-Dub. He fits very nicely next to Shea, assuming I think Chet is a lot more impactful when healthy. That's why I have him as the third option. So that's why I have him as a third option. I know people are going to say stuff. Don't care.
Yeah, let's
When
preface it. Let's preface it like this. Third option is not who's scoring the third amount of points. It's who's the third
exactly,
most impactful. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
exactly, because people get confused. When Chet's healthy, he's more impactful than J-Dub. That's why I have him here as the third option. Yeah. Number 5, got J-Dub. I think he fits very nicely next to Shea and Chet. Massive improvement this year on defense. And at some point, at a couple points throughout the season, this dude was playing center, and they were still winning games. They were dominating, actually. He's just had such an improvement on defense. He's very versatile on defense, and he's a pretty polished scorer. The reason why I have him at number 5 and not higher is that I feel like sometimes he really relies on hitting tough shots, and he doesn't. A little bit of inconsistency. So that's why I have him at number 5. Was an all-star this year. I said what I said when he got named to the all-star game. I said, a little bit bogus, but hey, he made it. So what am I going to say? But yeah, J-Dub at number 5. At number 4, Miles, we talked about this the other day. I've ultimately decided that the Celtics' third option is going to be Derek White. Elite defender, first team defense, phenomenal shooter. Derek White, 3+ threes is the most locked bet in the NBA playoffs. So I'm very excited. These next 2 weeks are going to be a lot of cash flowing into my pockets. Where was I? Oh, he just fits so well on Boston. And this dude is insanely capable of being a second option on really any other team out there. Such an improvement. When the Celtics made a trade for him, I was like, nice. Derek White, the dude on San Antonio, I guess, sure, take him. And then he got there, and I was like, oh, no, like they saw something that I didn't. This is why I'm not a GM. Derek White, I don't think I really need to say much more about him. The dude is just, he fits so well. He could just go play anywhere, can score, can play make. He's that guy.
Beautiful.
Number 3, give me a little T-Rex in Memphis. Give me Desmond Bane.
Bro, I got to stop you right there.
This is this season. Nope. Let me finish.
Desmond Bane over Derek White is insane.
I said this season right now.
It's still insane.
It's not insane. He's very solid 3-and-D type of player, and he can be a catch-and-shoot type of player, and he can be the guy that the Grizzlies rely on when Ja and Triple J are out, because when one of those guys were out and he had to step up, he was still able to keep them into a lot of games.
Ain't Derek White have 40 this year?
So,
ain't that stepping up in games?
It is stepping up in games. I mean, I saw him have 41 time, which is a little bit more. But like I said, it's just this year, what I've seen, I really like Desmond Bane. He's been able to keep them a lot of games in a more difficult conference, too.
Bane is very underappreciated, I feel like.
He got his payday a couple years ago, so I'm proud of the guy.
3
and 4 for me are a little interchangeable between Desmond Bane and Derek White. I'm just saying more of this season and what I've seen. I would probably put Desmond Bane a little bit above Derek White. Because then again, when Kristaps is healthy, who's that third option? There's that game, and I don't want to play it.
Wait, can we sit on this for a second? I got to hear Victor and Daniel's opinions on that. I need to know if I'm tweaking by saying that's insane.
I mean, well, what I'm curious about that I wanted to ask you was the Derek White thing. Were you going to say that Derek White shouldn't be the third?
Like, Desmond Bane is not above Derek White.
Well, I was more specific. Never mind what I was going to ask. I mean, yeah, I think like when you isolate it, who's more like impactful to their team and like means more, I would probably rank Derek White higher. Like I'd probably rather have Derek White than Desmond Bane. But I mean, both are good options, and I think Kevin's right. Like, actually, never mind. On the point that I was going to make at the end. What do you think, Victor?
Derek White hasn't missed a game this season.
I probably wouldn't have thought of Desmond Bane in this list, if I'm gonna be honest. I would probably give it to Derek White just because of how good of a impact he can make to the team, and we've seen that with the Celtics. But Desmond Bane is very slept on. I'm not going to lie. Like, he is putting up a quiet 19 right now. And he, like Kevin said, he has helped the Memphis Grizzlies win games when Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr. are out. This one's tough, but
Bro, Derek White was on Team USA, dog.
yeah.
I was gonna say that is something.
There's a reason. There's a reason he's on it. Yes, he's having a down season, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. But then again, I did say this season, top third options in the league. Was the very first sentence I said. And it's Big Kev's top 5 third options in the league. We can do Victor's top 5 next week. Daniels and Miles, they'll look different.
All right, we can move
Shall
on.
I go on to number 2, or
Yeah, you can go on to
is there
number
any
2.
final thoughts?
You can go
All right,
2.
at number 2, probably the person that sparked up this whole entire conversation, Austin Reeves. I think offensively alone, you could put him at number 1, but his defense is what puts him at number 2 for me. He's very good off the ball, constantly moving and running around. It's kind of insane. And he's very good with the ball. His playmaking has definitely taken a jump. He can score with the ball. Solid playmaker. I think this dude is very capable of running an offense, and he looks really good right next to Luka Doncic with or without LeBron. Austin Reeves kind of sparking up this conversation. I felt like I kind of had to put him in the top 3. Dude is an undrafted guy. Absolute bucket. He is on another level this year. I think it's the leg sleeve and the headband.
Yeah. Agreed.
Then at number 1, third option in the league this year, I'm going to have to go with Evan Mobley.
Smart. Yeah.
64% true shooting percentage. Completely different player this year than last year. I mean, I see this guy running a pick and roll sometimes in the offense, which is absolutely crazy. He's able to hit threes effectively. They drop a lot of three-point shot plays for him. Elite rim protector. He's able to switch on the guards, and he has great handle for a big man, averaging a nice, quiet 19. I've even seen a lot of people say that this dude is the second option right now, and if he is, that'll put Garland at number 1, I guess. Just his teammate. But yeah, number 1, third option in the league this year. For me, it's a no-brainer that it's Evan Mobley.
Yeah. Agreed. I have no arguments with Mobley at number 1.
I will say, I feel like the 5 players in this list, wherever you rank them, up to you, I damn near feel like if it's not any of these 5, I might have a hard time listening.
Yeah.
That's wrong, but these guys are just ballers. They could easily be a second option anywhere else, any of these guys. Mobley, with even more years in development, he could even be a number 1 option. This dude's nice.
Do you have an honorable mention?
No.
Uh-oh. Victor has someone.
I do not.
Victor's going to find a way to mold Shea into a third option just so he can put him on the list.
Shea on LA back in 2020 was elite. That's what he's going to say.
Back in them Kentucky days. No. I was going to say Norman Powell.
2020 Kobe White on the Bulls.
Norman Powell can't do anything but score, though.
Mm-hmm.
Norman Powell is absolutely balling this year, but I would say at most points, this dude was the number 1 option for them this year. With Harden obviously being a little bit more of a playmaker and Kawhi not being there for half the season, this was the guy.
Yeah, Norman Powell is scoring the ball, but not really doing much else. He's kind of like MPJ. Bro just shoots it when he gets it.
I think you guys kind of understood my list here. I was really looking for like impactful, like third option guys that are like not only just scoring, but just helping the team find ways to win the game.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think you're kind of tripping with that Austin Reeves take. Going for the rage bait. Sorry. No, I mean, yeah, I can't, like, it's unfortunate that there's a full-length video of me saying that the Lakers overpaid and Austin Reeves wasn't going to be anything really that well. Dude's killing it. And, I mean, yeah, I can't agree enough that when you think of third options, like, his name has become very synonymous with that. He's been, yeah, just an absolute phenom. And as for the list, Kev, I like it.
Here's a question. Who's the first option on the Lakers? Is it still LeBron or is it Luka now?
It's LeBron.
It's LeBron, yeah.
Would you guys say it's LeBron still?
Yeah.
Sometimes they play hot potato with the ball, but
when
I would think right now it's Luka, man. I think they're starting. I think they're starting to transition away from LeBron.
I agree.
Yeah, you're probably right. But after LeBron retires, we're gonna start counting years as one AB, 1 year after Bron. So therefore, he's the guy.
After Braun.
Yeah, I think I don't know. To me, it seems weird, like who the number one guy is, because yes, like for the future, it's already set in stone. Luca is their guy. He's the franchise guy, all that. But like when it comes down to like series, and like as we'll see them compete this year, I wonder who's taking those last shots, who's kind of controlling the floor. I mean, who's going to be the point dominant scorer on the Lakers? It might not be Luca.
Yeah. You're thinking about it too much. Here's another reason. Senior year at a finance class, 70 people deep. We each had to go around the room, say our name, say our major, and a fun fact about ourselves. We're going around the room, very last kid in the class. He's like, "Oh, my name is whatever. I'm a senior, majoring in finance. Fun fact about myself, I like LeBron." And I said, "Hell yeah." Therefore, he's the guy. He's number one. That's a true story.
Okay.
So he's bronsexual.
Okay, so do we talk about Desmond Bain versus Derek White again?
No,
Oh man. I think
because
it's
I
time
don't
to
want
wrap it
to.
up.
I don't want to get mad on the pod. It's not worth it. It's just
How are you
hoops.
How are you feeling? Your boy went out. I haven't seen anything else on that
What?
other than
He's talking about Jason Tatum getting
yeah,
hurt.
Tatum going out with
Oh, yeah. How do I feel about that? He'll be back. Doesn't matter. We have so much talent. We'll be all right.
He's
Yeah.
not even
You have the
humble at all.
I'm not humble. It's the truth. It's not
It is the
about being
truth.
humble. It's the truth.
No, I know. I'm just messing around.
We got two all-stars and, in my opinion, the second best third option in the NBA and the sixth man of the year. Like, I mean, come on.
Oh, and coach of the year.
And coach of the year. Like, repeat champs. Like, I mean, come on. We'll be okay for a little bit. Obviously, we'll need them in the playoffs, but like, it's not like we're gonna lose our second seed.
it's gonna
And if
become
we
Derek
do,
White's
then
team.
like, who cares? We're still gonna stomp whoever we play first round. But all right, fellas, let's wrap it up here. GMLB family, we thank you all for watching. We appreciate you being here. I'm gonna wrap this up kind of quick because this episode did go pretty long. But as always, we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube for the full length pod. And if you want to watch clips and see recaps and interactive games we play, we are available on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and there's one I'm missing. Victor, which one am I missing?
TikTok.
Instagram, TikToks. I said
Oh,
TikTok, Instagram,
Apple.
TikTok, and Snapchat. Is there really? Oh, and YouTube Shorts. Yeah, that's it. Had to repeat. And YouTube Shorts as well. So find all of our content there. As always, subscribe to the second channel, Good Morning Let's Basketball, for retrospectives and NBA videos. And we'll see you in the next one. Daniel is Timmy Thick, and